If you're thinking about selling a property, then my advice is simple. Get better prepared. And I don't mean cleaning the place, rearranging the furniture, or working out clever tricks to get viewers to fall in love with your home. I mean doing the things that really matter, the things that determine whether a sale is actually going to complete or quietly fall apart. Over the years, I've seen perfectly reasonable buyers agree to purchase a property only to pull out weeks or months later because the transaction was dragging on. Often, they convince themselves that the seller isn't serious about moving. Now, in some cases, that may be true, but far more than often, it isn't. The real issue is that the seller was never properly advised on how to prepare for the legal process of selling a home. What genuinely horrifies me is how reluctant many estate agents are to truly get involved in helping sellers become better prepared. And the reasons behind it? Estate agents love the glory of agreeing a sale. The celebrations, the social media posts, the chest beating about how many sales they've secured. And yes, well done. But let's be clear, a sale agreed is not someone moving home. It's a weak promise that things might be heading in the right direction. There are hundreds of avoidable issues that can arise during conveyancing. Combine those with transaction timescales that are already far too long, and tensions rise, frustrations build, and everyone starts looking for someone to blame. Now, brand damage becomes a real concern, and it's far easier for an estate agent to point the finger at the conveyancer than to accept any responsibility themselves. I can almost hear it now. We got the sale agreed. Everything was fine. It's all the conveyancer's fault. So let's look at what's really happening inside the property lawyers' offices. Estate agents often spend weeks, sometimes months, marketing a property. Now that's valuable time. Time that could be used to help sellers prepare for the conveyancing process. But in many cases, nothing is done at all. More often than not, the first time a conveyancer hears about a sale is when a memorandum of sale lands in their inbox from the estate agent. Now, a memorandum of sale confirms the basic details: buyer, seller, price, conveyancers, and any agreed conditions. Ideally, it would also include a chain sheet showing everyone involved, from the first time buyer at the bottom to a vacant property at the top. In the past, sales weren't agreed until chains were complete and everyone could prove that they could move. Those days, sadly, are largely gone. A property chain sheet is now a rare thing indeed. Now, I've spent years working closely with conveyancing firms, and I've seen memorandums of sale arrive for clients they've never even heard of. I've seen firms receive details for clients that they've only quoted for, but who haven't formally instructed them. In some cases, the firm doesn't even know whether they can actually act because they don't know the lender, don't know the source of funds, or even the type of property involved. And yet, incredibly, I've seen estate agents chasing those same firms for updates the very next day on transactions they aren't even instructed on. It's a complete waste of everybody's time. So, if you're selling a property, here's the key message: use the time before marketing wisely. Step one should always be to instruct a conveyancer early. Why? Because you need to become contract ready. When a sale's agreed, your conveyancer must issue a contract pack to the buyer's conveyancer. That pack often includes a draft contract, title document, title plan, a property information form, which is known as a TA6, fixtures and fittings form, that's a TA10, and copies of guarantees, warranties, and completion certificates. If your property's leasehold, it'll also include a leasehold information form, known as a TA7, and details of the managing agent's pack. And here's the part no one warns you about. You have to complete those forms and find the paperwork. And that takes time. For many sellers, the first they hear about this is when those forms suddenly land in their inbox, often after a sale has been agreed. That's not all. Your conveyancer also needs to verify your identity, confirm ownership, and if they're acting on your onward purchase, check source of funds and lender requirements. None of this will happen instantly. Now, I've been saying for well over a decade that sellers need to be better prepared before they go to the market. That's not just because there's a lot to do, but because failing to prepare properly can delay issuing contracts, frustrate buyers, and ultimately derail transactions altogether, which, as you can appreciate, is not ideal at all. And then the shouting starts. Estate agents blame conveyancers, conveyancers get buried under pressure, and buyers walk away. Thankfully, at the time of recording this episode, the government is reviewing the home buying and selling process. Now, it's very likely that sellers will be required to be better prepared, more transparent about their property and its condition, and to provide key information, such as the local authority search and environmental reports, all up front. So if you're serious about selling and serious about getting to completion without unnecessary delays, then take responsibility. Instruct a good conveyancer, not one dealing with excessive volumes. I know I touched about that on a previous episode. Complete your paperwork early. Pass your ID and source of funds checks. Gather your guarantees and certificates. Obtain an environmental report and get your local authority search well underway. Now, your estate agent is unlikely to explain all of this to you, often for fear of losing your instruction, because that is their focus when they're sat in your front room. They're not bothered about explaining the process or all those other things. They just want to win your instruction. But I would argue that the agent that does explain all of these things is the one that you should trust. That's the agent who actually wants to help you move home and the one who truly stands out from the rest. So there we have it. Thanks for listening to this episode of Moving Home Uncovered. If you found this useful, subscribe so you don't miss future episodes, and head over to propertysearchesdirect.co.uk/podcast to send me your questions. I'll cover them in future episodes to help make moving home a smoother, less stressful experience for everyone.